What's going on, YouTubers? Welcome to another video. Before we get to the video, today's sponsor of the video is the coldest water bottle. So I recently went to a collector's house. I brought my coldest water bottle, my white one actually, and I put cold water in it 2 days prior, but it's been in my cold basement. Left it in the hot car for like 2 hours, like 150 degrees in that freaking car. When I went to my car, still freaking cold. That's how incredible these water bottles are. So, highly recommend them. Use code Flankster in the link in the description below to get your coldest water bottle. But today, we got Balrog. Prime 1, Gandalf versus Balrog. So I ordered this from Big Bad Toy Store because by the time I decided I wanted this, it was sold out pretty much everywhere. But they actually had a fantastic price. Now, it still would have been cheaper to order direct through Prime 1 because of the reward system. This was about $20 cheaper ordering from Big Bad Toy Store than Prime 1, but Prime 1 you got the reward. So ultimately Prime 1 is still cheaper than all retailers, in my opinion. But nice thing with Big Bad Toy Store is they do, not only is it the brown shipper, but they put a ton of bubble wrap in another very sturdy box. So it's less likely to break coming from Big Bad Toy Store. But this also shipped about 9 months after everyone else and their mama has already got this statue. Had you ordered this direct, you would have had it 9 months ago. So for me personally, ordering direct is the best route. However, I think ordering through a retailer is a good alternative when it's sold out direct and you can't find it anywhere else. Because I don't find it to generally be cheaper when you order through a retailer. But Big Bad Toy Store, you definitely get this extra protection like this, which is really nice. Granted, I don't have space for these boxes, these bigger ones, so I'm just going to chuck them. I may even try to fold them, but they're so freaking big, I don't think I'd ever use these. So I'm going to keep the bubble wrap, chuck the big boxes, and only keep the brown shipper personally. But this is quite a big statue, so I don't know if I'll do my typical unboxing just because it's been out for 9 months. So I'll probably just show you step by step as I set it up here and not, spend 30 minutes setting this statue up. So I will show you how it's set up though, what's in the boxes, and I'll give you my full-fledged review on whether this is a grail or not, because it has been touted as grail by most people who've received it. So let's see. Alrighty, so after removing the two Big Bad Toy Store boxes, this is what we're left with. Now the big box is very heavy, so I assume that's the base. The smaller box is decently light. It's only net weight 8.9 kg. This one's 17.5. And I'm left with all this juicy bubble wrap I get to keep. So now we can go ahead and open this. I'll open the big one first because I'm pretty confident that's the base. And I did get 467 of 600, and this is the exclusive. Alrighty, so definitely a hassle to get this all out. But here is the two styrofoam boxes. This one, I assume that's going to be the whip. Has a part right there. There is the two art boxes, which do look fantastic. Although, to be honest, I'd probably rather just save the money and not have an art box. Because for me, it just goes back in this box and in my garage. So here it is. One reminder, folks, whenever you're unboxing statues, once you've taken out the styrofoam, clean your hands. Warm, soapy water. I always clean my hands before I up and touch these statues. But let's open these now. Alrighty, folks, so this is what we are greeted with. So, as I suspected, the big heavy box is the base, along with Balrog's wings. Here you got Balrog, Gandalf, and all of Balrog's different parts. Inside that compartment, I was right, it was the whip, as well as the tail. And here is the instructions. So, 19 steps, and it does require 3 AA batteries, which I need to go get. Because I do want to, of course, check out this light, plus the fact it's not AC adapter, I can, put some batteries in it. So this base is definitely huge. Yeah, you can see next to like this base, that's a big base already. And then this one is like the size of that base, plus that giant bridge. So, super big. Luckily, I have this space for this, though. Very excited to open this up and see it in all its glory, though. So, let's get to it. Alrighty, folks. So, here is the base. As you can see, you can't even see my Lazy Susan anymore. So, it is a very big base. Taking up well over half this entire freaking table. So this is kind of crazy. Base overall does look fantastic. It was heavy, but not like, oh my gosh, heavy. But it's definitely a very weighty base. You know, probably good 25 pounds, maybe 30. So definitely very heavy. It's more than likely hollow in some parts of the middle, but it's definitely a heavy base. So now we're going to go ahead and get Balrog. Alright, so Balrog fit very easily into the base, absolutely no problem, and it does have like a magnet there. So he fit really nice, and then there is this compartment to go ahead and put these batteries. So we got 3 AAA batteries we'll go ahead and put in. Alrighty, so now we've gone ahead and installed the 2 different wings. They are decently light, but still a decent weight. They both fit in perfectly. I didn't struggle at all. So there they are. They do look fantastic. There is, of course, a seam line anytime you do this, wings being separate. So, you know, for example, my Weta Balrog, which I don't own anymore, but, you know, I will let you know how this is in comparison. This is a little bit bigger so far. The Weta did not have any seam lines, which was real nice. However, let's just set this up and then I'll give some further opinions on the two. Alrighty, so here is the Balrog portrait. Now it does insert here. Looks pretty darn good. So there it is. You know, decent size, you know, in comparison to like Kong, for example. And there it is on the actual statue, and that is the seam line, but that will be covered by fire. It did fit with a pretty decently strong magnet and did go in very smooth as well. Alrighty, next we've installed the 2 different fires. They're via magnet. So they both went on fairly pretty good, and they seem to match up quite well. Next is going to be the massive fire effect, which is going to go right here. And then it's just the arms and weapons and Gandalf last. Alrighty, so there is the massive flame, which is huge, very cool. So it doesn't truly cover the entire seam line right here. It covers just the front part, but you can still see the side part. You know, from normal viewing distance, like right here, you know, 3 feet away, the seam lines aren't noticeable. Alrighty, so now we finally got the sword in. Now, the sword hand was definitely very difficult to get in. It took me probably 5 minutes, honestly. The whip hand, which is this, went in super easy. This one was a freaking way difficult. So it's been the only difficult thing to honestly install. I really had to get it in there and wiggle it in. It's very tight. But of course it has the light up feature, so it has an additional whatever peg in it. But there it is. So this one's going to have the light up feature where the whip doesn't. So if you don't plan to use the light up, then either one works really good. The whip adds a difference, you know, you use both of them in the scene. But it'll be very cool to see the light up on this. All we have left really is Gandalf. Alrighty, so here's Gandalf, and he actually weighs a lot more than I expected. And he does look fantastic, honestly. It's all one whole piece, fully sculpted, with that giant little metal peg that's going to allow him to go right here. So let's put him in. Alrighty, and we finally got Balrog versus Gandalf all set up here on the review table. So go ahead and see how it looks from the different angles. So no, pretty much unless you don't want to see Balrog, you're never going to see Gandalf's face. He's just more or less the back part. But of course, the main highlight is Balrog, but you don't want to view it at this angle. I think the best angle really is just this straightforward like this, or maybe even slightly to the side. You know, like slightly to the side, but ultimately I think this is just the best angle to view it at, which is how I think I will do it. Now let's check out the light up feature, which I have not tested just yet. It's a button right here. Alrighty, check that out. Let's turn the light off. So the top part is flaming like flames, or however you want to call it. This entire sword is completely lit up, which is really cool. You know, I didn't expect it to be like that. And then the face also is lit up, both the eyes, nose, and mouth. Only really the top part does have that pulsating effect, and then the two little flames don't light up, which is kind of a shame, and I feel like they should. So, very, very cool. So, yeah, very, very impressive for sure. Very cool light up feature. You know, and you just have to press this button right here to go ahead and turn that on and off. You can see the reflection TV, just how cool this is. So very cool light up feature for sure. I like that quite a bit. Definitely one of the better light ups I've seen from a Prime 1 statue. Alrighty folks, so here is a quick size comparison next to the coldest water bottle. So as you can see, this piece is absolutely massive. It's definitely a very big piece with lots of presence, lots of depth presence, height presence, semi-good width presence. I mean, it's wide if you turn it, but if you don't turn it, it's decently wide. Not like horribly wide, but it's definitely super deep, as you see, you know, completely hanging off this table. This table is 22 inches wide. Now, it's not completely to the back, but I would say the bottom of this base is probably 23 inches. And then I know it's about 33 inches deep, 32 inches tall. So, you know, definitely a huge overall piece. Now, in comparisons to the Weta's Balrog, now Weta Balrog cost me like 280 bucks on a winter sale. Like, I didn't buy it straight up when it went up for PO. When it went up for PO, I think it was $800. But I bought it during a winter sale for like 300 bucks. And I sold it locally, and can't even remember what I sold it for. But sold it for like 2 to 3x what I paid. And this one was $15.99 at Big Bad Toy Store, plus $4 shipping, plus about $118 tax. So all in, it was like $16.30 or something like that. So yeah, I think $16.30. I think if you went direct through Prime 1, their economy shipping was $16.50. It's like $20, $30 more. So based off of what I'm seeing now, I do think this is worth the money that Prime 1 asks, plus shipping and whatnot. This feels like a $2,000 statue to me. Now, like, I would say if you can find this for $2,000, then I would pick it up. Now, I did notice it's actually still available through Big Bad Toy Store, checking this morning, the exclusive, which we'll check out in a minute. So it's still available for the exact same price I paid. So if you were on the fence, wanting for a few additional YouTube reviews, I know there's a lot out there. You know, I personally watched Anthony V's. I love his YouTube channel, awesome collector in Australia. We have very similar mindsets, I feel. He got his Gandalf a long time ago, but I watched multiple videos of his that really helped me make my decision in purchasing this piece after watching his video reviews. So, yeah, there you have it. Let's do some good close-ups, and then we'll check out the exclusive. So, you know, there's lots of video reviews out there, so I won't go into too much detail, but, you know, the base is obviously very dwarven themed because it's in the Mines of Moria. So you have these dwarf statues, lots of little skulls and weapons, and it looks very old, you know, because the battle happened quite some time ago. You have what looks like dwarven writing, and there's definitely a yellowish, orangish paint job that's more or less like reflected from the fire, which I think is done extremely well. Here in the back, you got two more dwarven statues, and they're like sort of like damaged because they're old. This one's like, you know, missing some parts. Very, very cool. More sort of like dwarven writing, you know, and here is where the tail goes in, and the tail seam line is incredibly difficult to see. I can't even see it. I know it goes in like right around here, but I can't see it. The only, you know, pretty noticeable seam lines, especially from the back, obviously, are these wings, but I do think overall Prime 1 did a good job, and obviously they did this for, shipping safety. So overall, I think the base is absolutely brilliant and definitely like a 10 out of 10 concept. The paint job is fantastic. The concept's 10 out of 10. Sculpt looks great. Like even just the bridge, the sculpt of the bridge looks excellent. So, I mean, yeah, it looks freaking great. The different skulls and swords throughout the base look really, really well done. Gandalf, I think he looks fantastic, especially for his scale. If I was to guess on this scale, it is probably close between 120 and like 1/18th scale would be my guess. Because I've seen this next to the Fell Beast and they look like they pair quite good. The Fell Beast is, 1/20th scale, so I'd say it's definitely going to pair great with my Fell Beast, which is my plan. And I think, Gandalf, he's definitely a lot bigger than Frodo, but he is in the movie as well. He's like 3-4 times bigger than Frodo in the movie. So Balrog himself, he has a lot of awesome paint job and detail, a lot of orange, like cracked skin with orange and, to really implicate the fire effect. Even right here on his horns, you have this like orange that's sort of like the glow from his fire in the mouth. And overall, he just looks really, really well done. Now, I do like the flame effect a lot. I think it's definitely a lot better than Weta's flame effect, which was just like a painted resin. It was sculpted into the statue, so it didn't have like this separation per se, because this is a separate piece, which is cool, but I mean, it works in both manners. But overall, I think the flame effect and obviously the light up feature is far superior on this one. Tons of awesome just detail all throughout this piece. He's such a cool looking creature. So definitely very, very cool looking. There's just so much to see. It's like hard to even explain what the heck. You just got to look at the video to really see just how awesome this piece is. So the Balrog himself is definitely far superior than Weta's. I think in every way it has a better pose. Obviously the base is a million times better. The statue's just far superior in every possible way. A massive upgrade. Like I did like Weta's Balrog. It was cool. It's like a 6 out of 10 statue. For the money, it was great, especially me paying like $250. But I'm all about that quality. I want the best of the best. And Prime 1 made the best Balrog statue out there. Not only is it just Balrog, but they did it from a very specific scene, versus Gandalf. Actually having Gandalf on the bridge, the "You Shall Not Pass" scene, which is, one of the best scenes in cinematic history. It's the scene they show when you're in the movies waiting for your movie to show up and they're showing a bunch of scenes from movies. They always show this one because it's that epic. So super, super cool to own such a amazing scene in statue form done magnificently by Prime 1. So I would say that this is a grail based off my visual appearance. Seeing it now in person, I think it's freaking amazing. Now, the next thing to check out really is this whip. So I can determine if I'm going to display the whip or the sword, because I always think it's a good idea to get the exclusive, even if you don't plan to display it. I think it's just better to have the switch outs in case you ever want to use them. Even if you don't plan to use them, you never know. Maybe one day you do want to use them, plus it helps with resale value, and it was only like $100 more to get the whip. And I always wanted a whip for my, Weta one, because, I had the sword for like 5 years. So I think it's cool to also have a flame whip. So we're going to go ahead and do the switch out and see how that looks. So hold on. Alrighty, so here is the flame, and again, huge hassle to get this in. It's weird, because when I normally just put that hand in, it was easy, but when I tried doing it with the flame inside, which also was a pain in the butt to get into that hand, it was so freaking darn difficult. I also noticed that this doesn't display the same as it shows right here. Right here, it is more like down, where mine, it like instantly goes up. I don't know if I need to use a heating thing to get it to stay like that, which I think is Right now his hand's really just holding it. If I do this, it goes even higher like that. So that's kind of like how it is, otherwise his hand holds it. So yeah, and of course if you do the light up feature, you're not going to get the massive flame hand. So for that reason, I think I'll probably be displaying the sword for the most part, because A, the light up, B, I think it probably just looks cooler anyways. The flame does look cool. Has sort of like a white effect at the bottom, and it, looks very similar to these flames, but it's just kind of annoying the way this thing is. Freaking not... definitely probably have to take a heating thing to it to get it to look like that. Although right here, it looks like it's even higher, so which one is it? Maybe it is supposed to go this high, and that's just how it is. So I guess that is how Prime 1 wants it, is like that. It's just weird to have two different photos. Yeah, I guess that's how it is. Just like that. Still definitely a very cool option, just such a pain in the butt to switch out, and the lack of light up is definitely, granted I won't use a light up that often. Where I'm putting this is, I'm not going to be pressing this button that often, just every now and then. Like pretty much whenever I dust, I'll light this up. That's usually when I use my light ups that are battery operated or have an AC actually plugged in, is when I dust, I light them up just to, just to get it going. And sure, it's still working. So yeah, there is the whip option. Let me know what you guys think. Do you prefer the whip or do you prefer the sword? And don't consider the light up feature. Which would you rather display? Again, the whip is touching him. Granted, he has fire all throughout him, so it's not unbelievable to think that he would have, his fire touching him. Doing the whip does give you a little bit extra width space, which I guess is nice, because, the sword definitely stuck out quite a bit more. And here is the sword hand, which again was such a pain in the butt to install. So it's not something you'll want to switch out that often, just because it's such a pain in the butt. So now what we got to do is move this into the Lord of the Rings room over here, next to my Fell Beast, as well as decide, I might potentially, Alexa, turn on Marvel DC Stature Room lights. More than likely, I'm going to remove and display the wood on the ground, just because of how tall Balrog is, and I'll move that cave troll. I was even considering if I change those two glass shelves out to one of these garage shelves, I could actually fit the cave troll back over there. So I may eventually do that. For now, I'm going to see if I can fit Balrog with the cave troll and the Fell Beast all in one to set up. So yeah, let's go ahead and do that. We're going to have to lower this wood to the ground so we can have maximum viewing angles of Balrog, but he'll be going right here. So let's see how that looks. Alrighty folks, so here is Balrog set up in the display. So like I said, I did lower the wood to the bottom shelf because I still want to have wood because his base on the Fell Beast is not super big. And I did take off the Gandalf and compare him to the Frodo that we have right there, and they honestly look to scale. So I'm going to say these are to scale. I can't fit the cave troll in the display. I tried, won't work. So these two fit nicely in a 48-inch, 24-inch deep garage shelf. As you can see, Balrog does fit. Granted, the base does stick out, but it doesn't stick out enough to, bug you. Plus, the way I have this set up, it's not a big deal at all. Overall, it looks absolutely fantastic in the display, though. Very, very impressive. Definitely more impressive than the Fell Beast. I still love the Fell Beast, and it's incredible in its own way, but Balrog is the king. I would say in general, Balrog's one of my best creature pieces I now own. For like a creature diorama of this scale. This and my Rotunda T-Rex are my two favorites. of, you know, creature, monsters, or whatever you want to call it. Although, I'm very confident Godzilla vs. Kong will be the best of them all, no doubt. But there you have it, though, folks. Gandalf versus Balrog. Let's just light it up one last time in the display. You know, and I do plan to display the sword for right now. But there it is, all lit up in all its glory. Very, very cool. Definitely happy to own this piece, because I did pass on this for the longest time. I kept telling myself I was happy with my Weta, and I kept seeing more and more reviews, and then I was like, I'm not happy with Weta. I want this. So definitely the right decision. Prime 1, Lord of the Rings does not disappoint, and I'm super excited because Edagon actually arrives tomorrow. You know, the day I'm shooting this. He arrived in customs way quicker than expected. I wasn't expecting him for at least another several weeks, but he did just hit, so I get him tomorrow, so very stoked. I'm actually going to place him right there. So you'll see that video the day after this one launches. Anyways, folks, that is it for today's video. Let me know what you think in the comments below. Like, comment, subscribe. Have a great day.